Hey, Kevin here, top one financial advisor and best-selling author, and we are here to talk about the stock market. I'm going to give you my 4 favorite websites for new investors. Again, the keyword is new. So if you have never invested before and you're trying to figure out how the market works and what's going on and why things are happening the way they are, these are the 4 sites that I started with. These are the 4 sites that you may want to consider starting with, and there are dozens of really good sites out there. These are just I want to make it the video digestible and give you what I actually started with and where I am now. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and go over the 4 sites and then tell you what I like about each one, okay? And the differences between them. All right, so the first one here is CNBC. I just like this for general news and decent to good explanations about what's going on in a language that I can understand. Now, some people are going to say, well, they like Bloomberg better, and Bloomberg is good. Some people like Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal is good, but sometimes it can be a little more technical, where if you're brand new and you don't understand, who cares about Warren Buffett and why he invests in Apple and that kind of stuff, or even more technical things or more important things, supply chain. Well, actually, that's an ad. I don't want that. Toyota and GM, something happened there that I was alerted about. People quitting their jobs. How is that going to affect us? Stuff about KFC, whatever it's going to be, you can type in a specific company as well. But if I'm looking for something that's really easy and just like, hey, I understand this concept, I can move on. Now, some people say that they get alerts or they put out articles later than other places. That may be true. That hasn't happened to me. In fact, when I got the alert for GM used to be and this is like me from reading the notification and a quick article about it. So I have the Yahoo Finance app, which we'll go to next, as well as the CNBC app. I'll go to Yahoo Finance now. And GM, which is a company my daughter has, lost its lead. It was since 1931, I believe, I'm doing this from memory, from 1931, they were the number 1 automaker in the United States. For the first time ever, that was not the case. Or first time since 1931, this wasn't the case. Toyota beat them this year. And then, stuff happened after that. Now, I got the notification from Yahoo Finance and CNBC the exact same time. So, some people say they get it late. I don't know. But for understanding the market and what's going on with sometimes these breaking news events, CNBC tends to just explain it in a really easy, plain language that I think beginners can understand. Now, Yahoo Finance can do a very similar thing, but that's not what I personally use Yahoo Finance for. What I use Yahoo Finance for is for comparison. So, for example, I know I've been talking in the comments about Disney a lot, so we'll look at Disney here. Now, the reason why I like this, you can find this information on a ton of different sites. This is just my favorite because it's free. There's an app for it, and it just makes things a lot easier. So when I'm looking at Disney, a lot of people ask me, well, does this pay a dividend? Or how does it compare to whatever? What I like to do here is I can come down here and see what the dividend is if they pay one, and it would tell me right here. In this case, it looks like they don't. I can also, my favorite thing is when I hit this full screen button here, see if it loads for me, I'm able to compare. So this is the S&P 500, this light blue line here, compared to Disney, which is down here. So when I can compare companies at one time, which is great if I'm trying to decide, should I do Disney or should I do something else? Should I do, let's say, Intuit, which is a company we talked about, and let's throw Ford in here, since we were talking about we'll do GM and Ford. So Intuit's up here, the S&P 500, the stock market is here, and they got Disney down here. Let's say if we want to talk about GM versus Ford. And again, it's not the only program in the world, but it's one that's free. I have an app the Yahoo Finance app that'll help me out with this as well. So super easy. I just need something quick. I just need to understand something very quickly. So let's say if I compare this to Ford, I can do that quick, easy, free. And I can change the time frame. So let's say this is the past year, here's the past 6 months. If I want to do a specific date range, I can do that. I'm typing in the year. Let's do this. Since 2012. I just typing in something here. And so from January 5th, 2012 to today, this is how they did. GM actually beat since that time frame. Now, is that time frame important? It's 10 years. I would say no, but hey, The facts are the facts. So that's what I use Yahoo Finance for the most. I do like the alerts. You can also follow companies or track them. They'll give you, same thing with CNBC, you can add them to your favorites, add it to a watch list, and it'll send you alerts for important news stories there. Do you need both? Personally, I like having both. Yes, this can be a lot of notifications, but I like to compare stories so that I'm not getting just one source of news information. So CNBC will say something about GM, Yahoo Finance can say something about GM. I can read them both and then make my own decision. So that's why I like those two. All right, the next one is Investopedia. Very, very good for definitions. That's what I use it the most for. Obviously, and these are two stories that popped up. So this is one reason why Disney was on my mind, because it popped up here. So I might actually read that later. But the good thing about Investopedia is they are very, very good at definitions. So if there's a new, let's talk about stop loss. If I'm looking for something, if I'm trying to understand something, maybe you heard a term and didn't know what it was, or you're curious about something, they usually have a very good article that explains it really easily. So you scroll down here, these look like ads. So you can scroll down here and everything you need to know about stop losses are here. The other thing I really like Investopedia for is they usually have nice little 2-minute videos. See if it's on here. I don't see it here. They usually have a nice little 2-minute video that really kind of helps you to understand it. The great thing too, on this left hand side here, you can really learn everything you need to learn just from that one question. So this is stop loss versus a stop limit order, and then you can again kind of comb through here and really get a very full understanding of how these orders work, why they may be important, who uses them, who doesn't use them, and all that type of stuff. It's built with an education in mind, as opposed to, hey, here's a random story that doesn't really fit in context. This fits in context, which is great for beginners and still great for people who do this, who have done this for a while. Great refresher course if you need it. But again, helps you to kind of focus and say, this is what I'm looking for right now, but in context, here's how it fits with everything else and how it relates to other types of orders or whatever term that you're looking for. Most of the time, if I'm trying to define a new term, or if it's something I personally have not heard of, I'll type in term Investopedia, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to have an article on it that's easy to understand and that's very simple to really get, grasp, and then move forward with. All right, last one, and this is a new one for me. Andre is a co-host of the Flavor podcast that we do every week, and he talks about Google Finance all the time. So I checked it out, and I said, this is pretty cool. So there are a lot of things a lot of bells and whistles that I need to kind of get. I just added to my favorites. So there's, again, y'all can teach me about Google Finance, but you get to add a list. You get to create your own little portfolio for free. So this is like a way to test my ideas and test some things out, which is really, really good. Investopedia has one as well. It's called the Stock Simulator. That's where I started my investing journey, was there. But Google Finance might be good for this as well. What I like about it the most, other than Google having all the latest news and things like that, which you can see all this stuff here. Notice the thing about Google is they'll pull in information from everywhere else. So this exact same story is from CNN, but I think I just saw it on CNBC. Right, so they'll pull in information from everywhere, which is good if you're trying to read about a bunch of different things from different places. Here are market trends that tells you the stocks that move the most. There's Ford. Maybe I'll add this to add it to a watch list here. And then what I really like about it is, based on the companies that I like and that I'm following, it will give me other things I might be interested in, which is really cool. And that's how Google works. They know what you're searching for, and they give you other things that you might be interested in. So that kind of gives me a great comparison. So I can kind of build on everything together. So for example, if I'm looking into stuff like T-Mobile, and it says maybe I should look into Cisco Systems or Merck or what have you, I can use this information and then put it into Yahoo Finance. I can use this information and put it in Google Finance and create a portfolio to see how well they do without risking my own money. And that's a very cool thing. And this is, again, how I get my hands on it to really understand how investing works. So these are my 4. And again, like this one, I definitely want to dig into because Google Finance is the newest for me. But again, These four super basic entry information for beginners, something that you can understand, because what I've seen in my experience is that if you're new to it, maybe you've been doing it for a year, maybe 2 years, you get into it and then you're like, oh my God, I don't understand these charts, these graphs, and then you quit or you get confused, or you just give up and you go into something blind. And that's what I see a lot of new investors do, is sometimes they'll get something and do a stock split, or they'll buy something and then it immediately starts dropping. They're like, well, why is it dropping? Why is it dropping? Well, I got a news alert that said that the company was filed for bankruptcy 2 days ago. You didn't know that because you didn't read, right? You didn't read because it was too confusing, it was too intimidating, and you may not have known where to read these things, and these are some of the places that you can do it. Now again, there are dozens of others, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal. You can actually go to the post I did on Public, and there were some great news sources down there as well. Morning Brew is an email list, and they'll send out really cool tips and information about the stock market as well. Very great place. But again, this is where I started my journey, just to understand this is the place I still frequent often, and I do all those others too. So again, y'all know my habits. Go back and check that habits video. So I read a lot of stuff because I got to do a lot of content and answer a lot of questions. But if you are starting, it doesn't take anything but like 5 minutes a day. That's it. That 5 minutes every single day, 365 days a year, adds up. I promise you that little 5 minutes a day can really make a difference, because the more that you understand, the better reactions that I feel that you could have. So I think the market was down today. Let me double check. Yeah, it looks like the market, let's see, Dow futures are flat. Actually, no, we hit a record. I think the Dow and the S&P 500 hit a record today. The NASDAQ was down. But again, because I'm getting this information, for some people, not for all, I'm like, oh, okay, the market was up, it dropped, Ford was up, GM was up, why is that going on? It just helps me to say, okay, I understand this. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day, so that when I'm ready to make an investment decision, or I'm deciding to sell, or deciding to buy, or whatever, I don't have to cram that information in one day. It's because I've been reading consistently over and over and over and over again, where all that stuff builds up. So for example, and we'll talk about Disney, I already sold out on Disney. Like I'm fine on Disney. However, it's still a good company. I think it's, they're not going bankrupt. They might be the best stock for me, but I'm gonna go read the story. Like I'm curious. Maybe there's an entry point later this year. Maybe there's a trade I could do. I don't know, but I'll read it, right? I'll read it, I'll understand it, and move on, right? And then tomorrow there'll be another story I'll read, and the next day there'll be another story. And again, just 5 minutes a day, that can make a huge difference over time. All right, now that is it for me. One other thing before we go, I have an extra website that I'm going to show you, but it's only going to be on the TikTok channel. So I'll put that link. Is it a channel? Is it a page? I don't know. So I'll take this. Three of them will be the same, but one of them will be different. So I want you to go follow me on TikTok, hit the like and subscribe button here and on TikTok to find out that extra website that's really, really interesting. All right, that's it for me. Talk to you guys later. Bye.